Public speaking is a process of speaking to a group. It is intended to inform, entertain, and influence the listeners about something. Let me give you a few tips for good public speaking. Be familiar with the place where you are going to speak. Know your audience. Know your material. Ease yourself from tension. Role play yourself before you deliver the speech. Concentrate on the message rather than the medium. Change your nervousness into positive energy.
You can make yourself better understood through some relatively simple steps, such as keeping the message clear and concise, being prepared with what you are going to say, being aware of what you are doing and what you are saying, being your natural self and not get all worked up. Whenever it is not always possible to be prepared for speaking in public, keep yourself informed and effectively communicate with whatever knowledge you have. Use simple words and short sentences. Support your ideas or findings with examples and scenarios. Before you speak, ask yourself the following questions. Who are you addressing? What is the knowledge and understanding of the audience? What do they need to hear? How will it help them? What do you want to say? What purpose do you hope to achieve from it? Why do you want to communicate your message? Why should the audience listen to you? How can you best convey your thoughts and ideas? How do you plan to start and progress toward the end of your message? How do you make sure the audience has understood your message appropriately? When is the right time to say something? When is the right time to stay silent and listen? Where is the communication taking place? Where is the communicated information based from?
Voice modulations refer to the change in the pitch, stress, tone, etc. while speaking. Your voice will definitely modulate based on the situation and the sentence we speak. During public speaking, these modulations should be monitored and carefully delivered to avoid misunderstandings. Voice modulation is one of the elements for the success of any speech. Important aspects to keep in mind while modulating your voice are: concentrate on your pitch, speed up or slow down your speech wherever necessary, use pauses in between sentences and phrases and change of thought, speak enthusiastically, pronounce clearly. Voice plays an important role in verbal communication. All knowledge would go in vain unless the information is voiced just right. Therefore, in communication skills training, a great deal of emphasis is given to voice culture. Every voice has its own tonal quality and rhythm. Some of the important vocal modulations to be kept in mind during verbal communication, especially during speeches and presentations, are: avoid speaking in monotones. Speak in an enthusiastic manner. Pause for effect. Alternate between fast and slow. Alternate between high and low pitch. Effectively use loud and soft voices. Stress in all the right places. Pronounce the words clearly. Match the tone with the attitude, and match the attitude with the situation and circumstances. Writing is a process of converting your ideas and feelings in the form of words. To write effectively, one should follow the following. Use concrete language. Avoid overusing any word. Avoid using two negatives successively. Choose correct grammar. Avoid fragment sentences. Use active voice. Avoid technical words or jargons. Check spelling and grammar once you finish writing.
It is vital to communicate clearly, concisely, and effectively when writing. Good writing skills always make good impressions on people, be it the boss, or clients, or colleagues. Writing effectively is a skill that can be learnt. Most people can improve their writing skills by avoiding some common mistakes with regard to format, composition, style, structure, grammar. We'll learn more on the above shortly. Some important do's and don'ts of writing are: do's, use simple language, use active voice, pay attention to grammar, proofread the document. Don'ts, avoid wordiness, avoid redundancy, avoid jargons. Different writings have different formats. The most important step in choosing the format would be to identify the audience. Writings can be letters, emails, reports, memos, notes, white papers, news articles, stories, etc., each of which has a format of its own. The format of formal writing varies drastically from that of informal writing. It is vital to choose the appropriate format. For example, a letter to a client differs from a letter to a friend. The format depends on the targeted audience, which in turn defines the writing voice. The actual writing starts once we know what is to be written and for whom. Starting can be quite a problem for many people. This can be done by taking care of a few pointers concerning the composition and style of the document. Create an outline. First, tell the audience what the document is all about. Define the theme of your message. Follow the AIDA formula: attention, interest, desire, action. Explain why the document is important and how the reader will benefit from it. Present the information in a rational, coherent, and engaging manner. Use a simple and direct language. A document has to be reader-friendly. Make use of headings, subheadings, bullet points, and numberings in order to break up lengthy pieces of text. Use pictures, charts, tables, and graphs whenever possible. Check for and remove any grammatical mistakes. Know the commonly misused words, apostrophes, spellings, and other grammatical errors.
Even a simple grammatical error, such as a punctuation error, can have serious meaning-altering effects. One such example is shown on the screen, in which a comma has been misused. When we say, "The panda eats shoots and leaves," without using a comma, it simply means that the panda feeds on the shoots and leaves of the bamboo. On the other hand, if we insert a comma after the word eats, it gives a totally different meaning. It would become, "The panda eats, shoots, and leaves," meaning that a harmless animal such as the panda shoots at something or someone after feeding and then simply leaves the place.
No document is ready to be shared or dispatched unless it is proofread and edited for any possible errors. Some helpful pointers for reviewing, proofreading are as follows. Keep aside at least a day for review and proofreading. Do not rush through the document. Do not forget to proofread headers and subheaders as well. Read the document out loud. Take printouts to follow text easily. Review the document backwards to view an example of the inadequacy of a computerized spell check. As we are in the new era of digital communication, it is important to know how we should communicate through email. Some rules of email etiquette are as follows. Always use spell check. Complete the subject line before sending the email. Be concise and to the point. Reply promptly. Do not reply to all unless it is necessary. Minimize the use of abbreviations. Do not forward chain mails. Do not write in capitals.
When composing emails, following a few simple rules can ensure that they make a positive impression, resulting in a positive response. Include your name, title, and contact number in your mails. Use EOM headlines for very short messages. Write the subject line with a few well-chosen words. It serves as an attention grabber. It informs the recipients what the mail is all about. A good subject line increases the chances of your email being read and responded to. It greatly reduces the chances of being mistaken for spam and deleted. Never leave the subject line blank. Make 1 point per email. Communicate different subject matters through separate emails. It better ensures responses. It helps the inbox to be better maintained and managed. Use bulleted and numbered points in lengthy mails. Specify the response, call to action you expect. Write only what is necessary, clearly and concisely. Correspond on time.
The AIDA model is generally used to persuade the readers. So to persuade the readers, the message or the content should be very impressive. To make the content very impressive, the AIDA model is used. The acronym AIDA stands for Attention, Interest, Desire, Action. Attention. Use words and phrases to grab the reader's attention. Interest. Raise interest among the readers by writing interestingly with examples and illustrations. Desire. Persuade the audience and tell them what they are going to get or understand after reading it. Action. Act according to the interests of the audience.
Any document you write has to grab your audience's attention and persuade them to take action. This is where the AIDA model steps in. The acronym AIDA stands for Attention, Interest, Desire, Action. Attention. Use powerful words, phrases, pictures. Use good subject lines. Interest. Sustain the level of interest of the audience. Focus on the needs of the audience and what you've got to offer. Use small paragraphs, bullets, numbers, headings, and subheadings. Emphasize the key points. Desire. Elicit desire in the audience to drive them to action. Tell the audience what you have to offer and what they've got to gain. State all features and benefits. Action. State the necessary call for action.
Choosing the right way to communicate depends on the sender of the message. But the sender should be listener-oriented and think about the barriers of communication while choosing a channel. The possible barriers of verbal communication are not listening, nonverbal cues, noise, inconsistency, language, accents, environmental conditions, technological words or jargons, etc.
An efficient communicator is one who overcomes communication barriers that may crop up at various stages. The communication barriers that are mostly likely to occur while speaking are failure to understand the audience, inconsistency in the communication process, unclear and confusing messages, incomplete sentences, wrongly constructed sentences, inability to voice thoughts and opinions effectively, failure to seek clarifications at the right time, failure to choose the right words while communicating, use of negative words or slang.
Now that we have come to the end of the module, let us recall the important points that we have discussed. Verbal communication means communicating verbally with others. Verbal communication is broadly classified into 3 types: oral, written, and digital. Oral communication involves communication through words uttered from mouth. Communication is said to be complete only if the sender receives feedback from the receiver. Written communication involves any interaction that uses a written word. Email etiquettes should be followed for effective email writing. Sender should be listener-oriented and think about the barriers of communication while choosing a channel. One should be ready to accept feedbacks to communicate effectively.
With this, we come to the end of the topic on verbal communication skills. Let us recall the key points of this topic. Verbal communication marks the beginning of the communication process and is followed by nonverbal communication. Verbal communication can be written, electronic, or spoken. Asserting oneself is to strike the right balance between passiveness and aggressiveness. Giving and receiving feedback effectively improves the quality of work. No communication is complete without it. The 4 steps of the feedback process are: collect data, take action, communicate feedback, and refine changes. The 4 key elements of effective presentation are to understand the audience, prepare the content, deliver confidently, and control the environment. Before you speak in public, ask yourself the questions: who, what, how, why, when, and where with regard to the communication. Pay attention to your vocal modulations. Pay attention to the format, composition, style, structure, and grammar while writing. Always proofread your document prior to delivery. Follow simple rules of emailing to make a positive impact. Remember the AIDA model while preparing a document. Grab the reader's attention, sustain their interest, and finally elicit desire and action on their part.